The former Democrat guru for Clinton, when he was in the White House, switched sides and now analyzes the Biden crime family. You need to see this video. Here's an interesting story for you. When Clinton was president, Bill Clinton, because Hillary never made it. The Clinton's guru was a guy named Dick Morris. And he was the guy behind the scenes. He got them elected. He wrote the speeches. He was a genius. After working up close and personal with Bill and Hillary, he got so disgusted, he quit. And then he left the Democrat Party altogether because he said they're criminals, right? I want you to hear his analysis of the criminality of the Biden crime family. This is amazing. Watch this video.
When people say, oh, there's no evidence, Joe Biden, there's no evidence that he's done anything wrong. What would you say to that?
What I would say to them is I'd start with the fact that when he left the vice presidency, he was hired by the University of Pennsylvania at a salary of $1 million a year to preside over the Biden Institute for Global Engagement. Never taught a class, never showed up on campus. And then it turned out that program was funded with $54 million of anonymous donations from China.
From China?
So, and he hired among his staff the future Secretary of State Blinken and 9 other people on the payroll of that institute who are now on the national security team. So China funded a farm team, essentially, for the Biden administration, and the president of the United States was on the payroll of China for 4 years and made several $1 million from it. When he left the Senate, his net worth was $29,000, which means he was either honest or dumb. Now, when he entered the presidency, his net worth was over $10 million. And all of that came from bribery.
What say you, after watching the guy that knows more about what's going on inside the Democrat Party than basically anybody? What do you have to say about that?
I'm surprised that he's not in a body bag. That's all, think about it. Dealing with the Clintons and he's spilling the beans. He probably knows a lot more about the Clintons. I'm just surprised they hadn't body bagged him yet. Now, I'm not saying that, that's what the Clintons do. I'm not, I'm just, even though they have a whole bunch of bodies behind them, who's to know? But the fact that Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, even the Obamas, they all said that they were broke when they left the White House. All of them said they were broke. But now all of them worth millions of dollars. And then people go, well, but Will, they do book deals and they do all these other stuff and speaking engagements. But a lot of this money comes after the fact because they were doing special deals.
I totally agree. But here's the question. Does anybody care about what Dick Morris just said? Now, keep in mind, this isn't some guy like you and me that are just yelling from the sidelines, in any manner. We are not doing that.
We don't have the inside. Right. We don't have the inside track like he does.
Inside than Dick Morris, do you?
Again, that's why I'm wondering why they hadn't body bagged him yet, because he probably knows.
Real risk. Other people in the administration, I'm talking about the Clinton administration, had all these accidents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's my point. There was a whole bunch of accidents what resulted in body bags, So, but I don't think for the most part, Barry, what he's saying that no one is really surprised because the level of corruption that has come to the surface when it comes to the Biden crime family. I'm like, okay, what's new?
That's an interesting concept. And do you believe that there's going to be any date where we as Americans can look at this and go, wow, finally, the truth is out? Is that ever going to happen?
That's a really good question. I sure hope so after this November, because as long as they keep taking the country in the direction that it's in right now, we may never find out. So it's going to take the American people, Barry, to stand up, rise up, do the right thing for the truth to come out. I mean, just like I mentioned, talking about Epstein, all this, the documents from the Epstein, all of this coming out with all these different people, names in it. And now it's starting to come to the surface. I remember the one young lady, I can't remember her name. She was on one of the government state media outlets, and she actually broke the story about Jeffrey Epstein. And then they fired her because they didn't want her to talk about it on the air. They end up firing her, and everything she said was true, but they fired her saying that what she was saying should have never been reported because it wasn't true. And I'm wondering again, could she sue them for reporting on the story? But it's their network. They go, well, it's our network. That's not a story that we wanted you to cover. Yeah, keep the truth under the wraps. And let me say this really quick, Barry. You notice everything that comes up when it comes to Hunter Biden, when it comes to Bill Clinton, the Obamas, any Democrat that does something wrong, what's the first thing you hear from the left? Do you know?
Tell me.
Trump.
I was wondering if you were going to bring him in.
I mean, to think about it. Just I'm sitting there. I like to observe things from 6,000 feet, not just 30.
I gotcha.
And I'm observing everything, and every single time, no matter what, I'm like, what does Hunter Biden have to do with President Trump? Absolutely nothing. But every time, and now even with this whole the Epstein documents and everything, Dershowitz his name is in there.
Yeah,
and
but you know what? But he said it. He said, I was Epstein's lawyer and Trump's lawyer. So if my client asked me to go, I'd go.
Yeah, but my point is they're saying, oh my goodness, look over here, but they go Trump. I'm telling you, there's a pattern there. And I'll tell you, I just observe every time. Something comes out in the news about Gavin Newsom doing something inappropriate. Trump has nothing to do with Trump.
Well, remember
everything.
When we used to have to see Nancy Pelosi after three drinks at lunch, and she was, as they used to say, 3 sheets to the wind. She was just completely gone. Too many martinis, could barely talk. Her teeth would be falling out. Click, click, click. I hate Trump. I hate Trump. Talk about this. I hate Trump. Talk about this. Got to go. Every single day.
Every single time. DTS is a real thing.
I totally get it.
TDS.
I totally get it.
TDS.
It's Trump derangement syndrome. TDS.
It's a real thing.